Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's talk about something that so many entrepreneurs find super intimidating, but also full of opportunity, and that's winning tenders in South Africa.
Okay, let's just dive right in and talk about the elephant in the room, shall we? This quote from Lindsay Wealth, a former government employee. I bet this sounds familiar to a lot of you, right? These horror stories that the whole system is rigged, that it's all about who you know. But here's the thing, and this is the good news. It really doesn't have to be your reality. We're going to show you that winning is way more straightforward than you think. It's not so much about who you know, it's about what you know and how you prepare.
So here's how we're going to break it all down for you in this explainer. First, we're going to bust some of those big myths. Then we'll get you set up with a solid foundation. After that, we'll walk through the bidding process itself. I'll share some real strategies on how to win. And finally, we'll talk about positioning your business for success.
Okay, let's get right into it. Section 1, busting those myths. Because look, before we can even start building, we've got to clear away all the junk that holds people back. It's time to separate the fact from the fiction.
You know, the number one myth out there has got to be this idea that it's all about, brown envelopes and having an inside connection. But here's the reality, and this comes straight from procurement expert Lorado Sabata. The tender pool is just massive. It's actually impossible for all of them to be corrupt. The real barrier for most people isn't a lack of connections, it's a lack of knowledge. And that's the perfect lead-in to Section 2, building your foundation. This is where you have to do the work, because before you even think about bidding, your business needs to be on solid ground. And believe me when I say, these next steps are completely non-negotiable.
So, there are 3 things you absolutely have to get right from the get-go. First, you've got to know exactly what you do, your niche. Second, you have to make your company official, get it registered with the CIPC. And third, and this one is a biggie, you must get registered on the Central Supplier Database, the CSD.
And this quote from Lorado just hits the nail on the head when it comes to that first step. No one wants a jack of all trades. Think about it from their perspective, right? They're looking for an expert. So don't create a company that does construction and catering. Focus. That's how you build credibility fast.
So, this CSD, what is it exactly? Well, think of it like the main gate to get into the party. It is the government's single, official database of suppliers. If you want to do any business with a government, you have to be on it. If you're not on it, you're basically invisible to them. It's that simple.
Okay, so to get on the CSD, you've got to get your ducks in a row. This means having all your compliance docs ready to go. We're talking your official company registration, a valid tax clearance certificate, your BBE certificate, and a professional business profile. This isn't just admin. This is your proof that you're a legit, ready-to-work business.
All right, so your foundation is rock solid. Now what? Well, that takes us right into Section 3, where we're going to explain the bidding process. Let's look at how you get from just being on a database to actually submitting a quote. So it's a pretty straightforward process, really, usually in 4 steps. It all kicks off when some government department figures out they need something, say 10 laptops. They'll go straight to that CST database, pull up a few laptop suppliers, and send out a request for quotation, an RFQ. You get that request, you submit your best price, and then they evaluate all the bids and pick a winner. Okay, let's move on to Section 4, because this is where it gets really good. We're moving from just being in the process to actually winning it. We're not just talking about the how, we're talking about strategy. And this brings me to the second biggest myth that we need to just completely demolish right now. The idea that all that matters is the lowest price. So many people think the winner is just whoever bids the cheapest. That is just plain wrong, and it's a mindset that will absolutely sink your bid. The truth is, the public sector doesn't just look at the price tag. They use a points system. Most of the points, yeah, they're for price, either 80 or 90, but the other 10 or 20 points come from your BBBE level. And listen, those 10 or 20 points, they're often the absolute tiebreaker. That's what separates the winner from the runner-up. But wait, there's more. It goes even deeper than just price and BBE points. The evaluation teams look at a whole list of things: your company's experience, the actual solution you're proposing, your financial health. It proves they're looking for the best value, not just the cheapest offer. All right, this brings us to our final section. And honestly, this might be the most important one of all, positioning for success. It's about bringing it all together with the right mindset. You want to know one of the biggest rookie mistakes? Underpricing. You need to price for what's called the total cost of ownership. Don't just price the laptop, price the delivery, the setup, the risk of a fuel hike, your time, everything. That shows the procurement team you're a pro who's thought the whole project through.
And you know what's just so frustrating to see? Bids getting tossed out for silly mistakes. Something as small as a missing signature on one page, submitting your bid 1 minute, just 1 minute, late, or misreading what they ask for. All of that can get you disqualified before they even look at your price.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's simple, but it's everything. Attention to detail. You have to treat every tender doc like it's a test where you have to answer every single question, check every single box. Perfectly. Create a checklist. Read every word. Follow every single instruction.
Look, the path to winning these things, it's not some secret club with a secret handshake. It's built on solid preparation, perfect compliance, and smart strategic thinking. So the real question isn't whether the system is winnable, it's how are you going to position your business to go out there and win.